I have a list of over 30 free plugins that you can use to replace popular paid plugins. Let's check out number 14. This is a bit of a stretch, I'm honest. But if you want something like Nexus, why do people like these plugins? I think they like them because they have many high quality useful presets. And if you want a free plugin that can kind of offer many high quality useful presets, check out Surge. You can go to the factory patches. Check out the third-party patches right in here. I found this bass in it. Part 2 of a 3-part series where I'm showing all free plugin alternatives for paid plugins I was able to find. In the first one, we looked at 13 free plugins, and if you would have bought all of the paid plugins that those can replace, you would have spent $1,742. Of course, this is a very hypothetical number. I think it's interesting anyways, but in this video we're going to start over with adding up the prices because I think it's getting a bit abstract past $1,500. In the end, we can add the amounts back together. Make sure to subscribe to catch the third and final video of this series. I'm going to release it in approximately a week, but if you're going to bully me in the comments, it might be a bit sooner. And since we have a bass right here, let's talk about Wave's RBass. The best free alternative I found for it is this Air Windows Dub Sub 2. Here I'm using it in the Air Windows Consolidated plugin, which is a collection of all Air Windows plugins and is a bit nicer to look at than the original plugins without Dub Sub and with. This is based on a 2 tape, so I suspect it's also adding some harmonics. It's definitely also just boosting the low frequencies. Let's compare to RBass. Without. With. Air Windows. I think it sounds good. I don't know if it does exactly the same thing, but you can use it for a similar thing. Also, Thrillseeker LA Mark II. This is currently my favorite free LA-2A emulation, so it's replacing a paid LA-2A emulation, for example this UAD Teletronix LA-2A. Bypassed. Enabled. Bypassed. Enabled. Manta. This is an alternative for DJ Swivel's Knocktonal, I think. It introduces resonant bandpass filters in parallel. Listen to how much body I can give this snare with Manta. This is the snare without, and this is with. I'm going to overdo it a bit. If you increase the resonance, the ringing is going to be longer, which usually I find sounds a bit too unnatural. But by decreasing the resonance, you can really find a sweet spot. Without. Sounds weak now, right? And with. Pretty cool. So this is different from a regular EQ because you can get this ringing. Let me also mention another free plugin by the same developer. Florian Murgala just recently released Hammer und Meißel. This is a cool plugin and there's not really a paid counterpart, but why should we disqualify it just because the paid market hasn't caught up to what Beatsbustlin is doing, right?
Dial in the noise synth if you want the effect to act more like a synthesizer.
Hammer und Meißel ist ein Modal-Synthese-Effekt-Plugin. Ich hab's gebastelt, weil Modalfilter die geilsten sind.
Check out Florian's video on it, it's really interesting. Let's stick to the drums. I have this kick drum right here. And I'm going to show you a free alternative for Kilohearts Disperser. Disperser is kind of an interesting Magic, it says here, all pass filter, and Diopter is a clone. I think it's supposed to do exactly the same thing. It's kind of going to make your kicks sound more like a laser. Without, with. I think it sounds pretty cool, especially in like an EDM context. And now another crazy free plugin that is trying to replace knock 1-for-1. Look at this. Refire by Autoboogie. It also has a transient shaper similar as punch in knock. It has a sub similar as the sub in knock. It has some distortion, saturation, and something EQ-ish. Without and with. Let's just listen to some of these processes alone. Sub, without, adds a sub. Pretty cool. Transient shaper, saturation, tone. And this is a clipper as well, so it has exactly these 5 processors. The last one is just built in to this slider. Let's look at this signal down here. This is just some noise. And imagine what you could do with some noise and scalar EQ. You can make something that sounds like this. Scalar EQ lets you boost specific notes of a musical scale with an EQ. You can do pretty much exactly the same thing with the free M equalizer. Check out this node called band 4 right here. I can add harmonics. This is how it would usually look, right? Just a big boost with a small Q at 660 Hertz. And if you hover over here, you can actually see that this is an E. I can tune it visually. I want an E5. We can even double click on frequency and select the E right here. Now it's exactly an E. And now I can introduce harmonics. These are all generated with 12 semitones difference. It doesn't work exactly the same way as scalar EQ. The way I'm doing it now is I'm just generating octaves. 4 to be precise. You can add more or less. And I'm just boosting the harmonics. And it sounds like this. But now we just have the note E. So I added a second band, again with harmonics. And we can also tune this exactly to a B, for example. Now we have a 5th. I think that's pretty cool. Another instrument, if you're looking for a KORG Mono Poly, consider downloading the free Mono Fury by Full Bucket. I'm just going to show you a quick solo I made with it. RC-20, famous plugin. The free plugin I would recommend you try to replace it is Lo-Fi Oddity by Aberrant DSP. Check it out on this FB3300 pad we listened to earlier. And with. And if you want more control over some lo-fi tape, check out Chow Tape. And I think if you combine lo-fi oddity and Chow Tape, you're really going to get similar results as you could with RC-20. And since we're talking about lo-fi tape effects, I also want to give you a quick alternative to Softube's Dirty Tape. Of course, you could use Chow Tape, but you could also use Denise Audio's Bad Tape, which is also free. Let's hear how that sounds. But this is what you can do with Bad Tape, and Dirty Tape is obviously similar, right? Yeah, again, I don't know if it's an exact one-to-one replacement or which one is better. Split EQ. I mentioned this in another video as well. If you want a free alternative to Split EQ, check out Native Instruments. They're giving away Ozone 11 EQ for free. So we can EQ, transient and sustain independently. Mid-range sustain. Let's hear it on a master. I mentioned this in the last video where I talked about Ozone 11 EQ. I'm still not sold on it. Yeah, it says it can do transient sustain splitting, but I don't really hear it. Maybe you still have to get Split EQ, or you have to use the demo version of Tone Booster's Equalizer Pro. Anyways, there are a couple of free alternatives for Antares Auto-Tune, and I think Spot On is a great alternative for Auto-Tune Access. Check out these vocals without Spot On. Counting on you, counting on me. And with Spot On. Counting on you, counting on me. And it can really go fast. This is the most extreme setting. Counting on you, counting on me. And I do have an older version of Auto-Tune Access. If we compare the two, you see the workflow is very similar. You also have the amount and retune speed just flipped here, and you have these nodes that you can enable or disable by clicking. Counting on you, counting on me. Spot On. Counting on you, counting on me. And a bit more mild of a setting. Counting on you, counting on me. Auto-Tune. Counting on you, counting on me. I think this is a great plugin. I also want to mention Epic Plate. You could consider this an alternative to something like Little Plate, which is a great plugin, but Epic Plate is also great and it's free. Epic Plate. Counting on you, counting on me. Little Plate. Counting on you, counting on me. I mean, either is fine, either is good. Also, again, Soundtoys Little Alterboy, what could you use to replace it? Maybe check out Graylon 3, or according to a video I watched, it's actually French and called Graillon. It has a pitch shift right here. Counting on you, counting on me. An independent formant shift. Counting on you, counting on me. Counting on you, counting on me. And it also has a built-in pitch correction, so you could even consider using this instead of Spot On. Counting on me. But if you want a natural sound, I think Spot On wins. This is cool for little Alterboy style effects though. Counting on you,
counting on me.
Consider checking out this video, a collab I did with Beats Basteln, who programmed 2 of the plugins I mentioned in the video. He's just doing drums and I'm just doing melody and chords, and we can't hear what the other person is doing, and then we just put them together and see what happens. Also, if you want to learn more about my studio and how I'm starting to set it up, consider checking out my vlog I did about moving into this studio. Leave a like if you liked the video. Consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the finale of this 3-part series. See you again soon.